Hey everyone, Brandon here from TruckSafe. Managing compliance for regulated drivers in the trucking industry can be complex, and much of it comes down to record keeping. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations mandate that motor carriers generate and retain for certain lengths of time all kinds of compliance documents. Driver logs, drug and alcohol test results, and vehicle inspection reports are just a few. But there are certain types of compliance records that tend to generate a lot of questions, and those pertain to driver qualification. In this video, we're going to tackle the most common types of driver records and files and provide some tips for fleets to avoid pitfalls. So stay tuned and do us a favor by clicking those like and subscribe buttons below. Even for non-highly regulated industries, managing employee records can be difficult. But add on top of that, regulations governing things like driver qualification, training, and drug and alcohol testing, and you can really end up underwater pretty quickly. And as we've discussed many times over, fleets that don't have their driver qualification related record keeping under control create a lot of exposure for themselves in the context of DOT audits and highway accident litigation. So it's critically important, if you're a regulated carrier, to get your driver related record keeping in order. So first things first here, it's important you understand what types of driver related records are required of you by the FMCSA and its state partners and which aren't. Among the most common file types we see when working with fleets are driver qualification or DQ files, personnel files, and drug and alcohol testing files. These file types each serve distinct purposes, and confusion about their differences can lead to compliance problems and litigation exposure. So let's break down what each file type is, why they need to remain separate, and how you can manage them most effectively. First, let's talk about DQ files. A DQ file is federally mandated, and it's a crucial tool for ensuring that commercial drivers are qualified to safely operate commercial motor vehicles. The requirements for a DQ file are outlined in Part 391 of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. It must include specific documents like a DOT driver application, motor vehicle records, certificates of road test, medical examiner certificates, and more. Essentially, DQ files serve as proof that a driver meets federal qualification standards. The regulations are very specific about what these files must include, how frequently they must be updated, and when documents can be purged. Now compare this to the personnel file. Unlike the DQ file, the personnel file is not necessarily federally regulated, at least from a DOT perspective. Instead, it's an internal file that holds records related to the driver's employment or contract history, such as job offer letters, performance reviews, training records, and pay information. The purpose of the personnel file is to manage HR-related matters and provide a comprehensive view of the driver's relationship with the company. It's important to note that while some information might overlap with the DQ file, these files really should remain separate for compliance and organizational clarity. Finally, we have the drug and alcohol testing file. Now this file is another federally mandated one, at least for drivers operating CDL-sized vehicles, required under Parts 40 and 382 of the Federal Safety Regulations. It includes documentation of the driver's compliance with the drug and alcohol testing rules as applicable. Records here typically include things like pre-employment and random test results, signed receipts for drug and alcohol testing policies, and any return to duty or follow-up testing information. Because this file often contains sensitive information, it's subject to strict confidentiality requirements. So why is it important to keep these file types separate? Well, first, it's a good idea from a compliance standpoint. Mixing documents from these various file types can lead to accidental noncompliance or difficulty producing required records during audits. Having them separate makes it easier for fleets to know what documents are required and must be produced in the event of a DOT audit. Additionally, keeping these files separate helps protect drivers' privacy, especially when it comes to sensitive drug and alcohol testing results. So let's wrap up this video with some tips for managing these various driver-related file types. For DQ files, be sure to use a checklist to ensure all required documents are included and up to date. We've got this type of checklist available on our website at trucksafe.com if you're interested. Also, schedule regular reviews of your DQ files to ensure you aren't missing any required documents, and consider digitizing records if you haven't already to make organization and retrieval easier. For personnel files, focus on separating non-regulated documents. This keeps your DQ files uncluttered and ensures only HR-related records are included in the personnel file. Restrict access to authorized HR staff to protect sensitive information, and maintain consistent policies about what should and shouldn't be included and for how long. And for drug and alcohol testing files, confidentiality is key. Store these records in a secure location, separate from the other files, and limit access to those who need it for compliance purposes. If you're a smaller carrier, consider enrolling in a consortium, which can help manage testing pools and keeping the required records. In short, understanding the differences between these file types and keeping them organized is critical for maintaining compliance with federal regulations. It also protects drivers' privacy, ensures audit readiness, and reduces your legal risks. If you need help setting up or auditing your DOT records, we can help with that. Reach out to us on our website at trucksafe.com with any questions. All right, so to wrap up this video, for even more in-depth information about these types of regulatory topics, be sure to check out our innovative online compliance courses for safety managers and for drivers over at trucksafeacademy.com. Also, if you're looking for an easier way to access and understand the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, check out eRegs, the first app-based digital version of the regulations over at eregs.app. Lastly, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at trucksafe.com/subscribe and follow us on our various social media pages for the latest highway transportation news and analysis. Thanks for watching.